So that was a breaking news, and we've talked about this, but I'm just wondering, have you heard of any other plant going to be affected? What is the toll, what is the tally Friday morning as we speak so far?
Well, look, the thing is that they split cars, immediate tariff on cars, and they've delayed the tariff on parts. Companies are really just scrambling right now, car companies. Let me see if we can make a go of it in the interim. We don't see an auto parts tariff until on or before May 3rd. But we see the same company have an issue in Warren.
Okay, so Stellantis has 4 idle plants right now directly as a result of tariffs?
Yeah, if you include Brampton, which was paused about a month and a half ago,
right,
when this tariff business started in Windsor, you know, Stellantis, almost 100-year investor and employer in Canada, and the biggest assembler by units of volume and sales. You know, a lot of people buy Stellantis vehicles here. I've bought 10 over the last 20 years. Make great product. You know, I buy the stuff from Brampton. I loved it. They're having trouble, but they're a world-class automaker, making parts and cars in the same way that every other automaker does, with the same pool of labor and the same tools and supplier network, and the same people and the same skill set. And they've said, we can't make a go of it right now. We're going to pause. Now, Donald Trump has made U-turns after 2 days. I don't know if he's going to do it this time. Certainly, he's taken on the whole world here, and it's probably not a good thing, according to the Dow at least. So you're going to see automakers really think in two senses. One, what can I do right now? If I can't do something right now, it's not normal to shut a plant. A plant that's just been retooled, that has 2 segment leading products in April. You know, I think everybody should read that as Donald Trump is killing my business. And then you got to think long term. We make investments in 10, 20-year terms. In spite of the fact that he's talking about a third term, he's gone in 3.5 years. What are you going to do for your business to bridge that gap?
Between now and then. Okay. I want to talk about the reprieve for parts in just a second, but so we have Stellantis right now. That's the main focus.
Yeah.
As someone who's an auto forecaster said, you know, somebody has to be first.
Yeah, that's right.
There will be maybe more to come, but we don't know that. As of this morning, we're not getting any more news about any plants or any other further temporary shutdowns that you're hearing about.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not hoping for it.
No, of course not. Yeah, but what you said about interesting, the reprieve for parts and how this muddies the waters at a certain point. So right now, the tariffs are on the vehicles.
That's right.
And you just listen to Jonathan try to go through the percentages of what's in there. It's so complicated to determine what is Canadian, what is American, what is Mexican content in all of this. And the deadline for that is May the 3rd.
The context is none of this is necessary.
Right.
You know, this is the whim of one man and the people that he surrounded himself with. In a process that, whatever the objective is, the net effect is to throw the entire U.S. economy and the North American economy into chaos. The way that we make cars, the companies, the parts companies, the car companies, the tool and materials companies across North America is the most efficient and integrated industrial vertical on the planet. That's why you would do business for 6 or 7%. You know, when your viewers say, well, why would you do something at that scale? Well, if you get a contract from a Toyota or a General Motors as a part supplier, it's a 7-year contract. You're making 6 or 7% out of volume works, and also for these automakers. So now he's introduced a whole bunch of risk. And these formerly blue chip business is a big risky business.
Well, we're seeing the share prices for the automakers go down today as well. But is everybody in the business now scrambling to be fully CUSMA, USMCA compliant?
Well, in the interim, it looks like being USMCA compliant wins you a bit of a reprieve, a lowering of some of the content that gets tariffed. As of May 3rd, it really doesn't matter. You know, he said the only thing that matters is American content. He's throwing the CUSMA rules, the USMCA rules, to the side. What companies are doing is taking a look at their footprint across North America, trying to match it across where they sell the cars. We've operated without a border, and then you end up having vehicles made on this side of the border for customers on that side, and the other way back. Looking to see what you can do. In the short term, you can do nothing. You and I have talked about this for months now.
Yes.
In the mid and long term, you can. The question is, long term, is he there? Long term, is this permanent?
He said that the auto tariff is permanent.
Yeah, but he's not. And so what we're expecting to see, like we saw in the Senate, 4 Republicans say this is a little bit nonsensical. That's the first break. Which of the American companies or which of the companies invested in the U.S., what other non-tech bro American billionaires are going to stand up for the capital that they have at risk? And they're going to turn around and say, look, if you can't make a go of it and I can't bridge it, there's another way to do this. They're going to go to court. If he is using national security tariffs, national security legislation for tariffs, and there isn't a national emergency or an international economic emergency, go challenge it. It doesn't cost you much.
Well, I thought it was pretty interesting. The Wall Street Journal, a proponent of that, somebody should sue Donald Trump based on the justification that he's using for these tariffs. And I said, I know somebody who's thinking about that, but you just have to wait until you see some material impact in the United States, right? Before you can actually move ahead with action there.
Suing means you're going to go to court and you're going to challenge the use of this national security clause and then saying it's an improper use and I'm getting irreparable harm, or the people that I represent or the companies. So irreparable harm starts when you start canceling production days. When you cancel production days, because it's just math and science, you can't make them up on a Saturday or a Sunday after a certain point. You can't make them up on a third shift.
So that shutdown in Warren, Sterling Heights, also Stellantis, would that count as something that you would use as justification for going to court?
It may. What we're looking at is the Windsor shutdown, the Toluca shutdown, the Warren shutdown. Those suppliers are in all 3 countries. And so we're focusing on the company itself, but there's probably 3 times as many supplier jobs that are affected. And there's dozens of suppliers that go into each of those plants. Some of those are American suppliers in Canada shipping to Michigan, and Canadian suppliers in Michigan shipping to Windsor. And so when they go down, there will be a lost production days. That will be irreparable harm, and we'll go challenge it.
When it affects your workers, your people directly, and your interest.
Yeah, we have to make the case that we have standing. So it has to be companies that I represent and lost shift schedules, and we're going to talk about those shifts and those products.
It's so the integration is affecting so many things in so many ways and keeping it all straight. Can I just ask you quickly before I let you go this time? You certainly had input into what Canada decided by way of retaliation, the 25% like tariff on cars coming in to Canada. Do you think that was the right response from Canada? Are you satisfied with what Mark Carney announced yesterday?
So I'd said many times we didn't need a carve out in automotive. Be strategic. We only have a certain amount of cars. Play them properly. I thought it was smart to mirror their tariff on vehicles, but do a Canadian carve out. But more importantly, do a Mexican carve out. Canadian companies are heavily invested in Mexico too. 120 factories in Mexico owned by Canadians. We're not in a trade war with the Mexicans. It's a good symbolic move to say to the Americans, let's focus there. And then if they're going to exclude auto parts, that allows the companies to give it a bit of more runway, then we needed to do that as well. Will it work? I don't know. We've never been here, but it was a strategic response, and I think it was thoughtful.
Okay, thanks for coming in again this week.
Yeah.
I'll probably see you Monday.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But we'll see you soon, because obviously this is going to have to continue in terms of reverberation through the industry. So Flavio, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And you're watching CBC Morning Live.